Good morning. I'd like to preface my question by first saying I don't think there's anything about Barack Obama that's impressive. In fact, to me, there's more elements depressing. Number two, I think it's probably politically correct to say he's a great speaker, but personally, hearing his voice from Royston, I really think he's that good. Now to my question. Back during the State of the Union speech, Barack Obama criticized the Supreme Court. This week, John Roberts is going to attack for some comments that he made. Barack Obama did lie, and even though the mainstream media tries to cover things up and protect the man, how possible would it be to at least put forth some kind of resolution condemning his remarks at the State of the Union speech in terms of what he said about the Supreme Court, even though it may not get passed, at least there will be some kind of political thing put forward to the public to condemn those remarks, because it was very uncalled for.
Well, it wasn't called for. They were wrong. They were inaccurate and written by some political operative and had no place. In fact, much of that State of the Union had no place at the State of the Union. I don't know, frankly, what good it does to go backward that direction. Going forward on it, they've already introduced legislation to do what the president wants to do, which is to block the free speech of businesses in America in these elections. One of our many fights beyond health care and on the freedom side is one of those fights we have to block. Our goal going forward should be to block any effort to do what the president talked about that night. Mind you. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't think we said that the best revenge is to not allow that to move forward in any way. Well, and just so, I don't know, you guys know this, here's the free speech issue. The free speech issue was, do all businesses in America have a right to weigh in to an election in the last 60 days, just like businesses who own the New York Times, the ABC News, local newspaper, and others. That was the free speech issue. The Supreme Court said, yes, they do. Everyone's equal in that. They can't coordinate with campaigns. They can't give money to campaigns. But as a company, they have the absolute right to say this legislation is bad, this resolution is bad, or it's good. They have free speech rights too. That's what we're protecting. Thanks. Thanks for raising that.
Hi, I have two very quick questions. The first one I'd like to know is if the Republicans can take back the House and the Senate in 2012, is there any possible way, if this bill goes through, that it can be repealed? And my second question is, if this bill goes through, is there anything that the representatives of the state of Texas can do to protect our state so that we can keep ourselves from being excluded from this bill?
Got it. Thanks, Gary. The number one job of Republicans, if the voters give them the honor and the trust to hold those gavels again, the first goal will be to repeal everything bad that has occurred this country. It will not be easy, because you will have to go against a veto-proof majority. So, a veto-proof majority, they have to have the House and Senate. Most likely, we will not. So, in that first 2 years, I would say the fight has to be waged. It's going to be tough to get the wins. You're going to have to change the White House, too. That's on the first thing. Second question was on the states. Look, I love the fact you got a whole number of states offering constitutional amendments against the mandates in the health care bill. I think it's very helpful to have our Attorney General, Greg Abbott, and others challenging right off the get-go the constitutionality of these bills. I think it's important for states to focus on the 10th Amendment in every way possible. Whether all those actions translate into wins in the legal system, I don't know. The Supremacy Clause is a powerful clause at the Supreme Court level, and I've had the privilege of talking to Justice Scalia about nullification and issues like that. The response wasn't necessarily encouraging, but I think the importance of all this is for every state, every member of Congress in Washington to understand how strongly states will fight this every step of the way. So I think we need to keep that volume, turn that volume up, keep it loud. And you know, we've had a lot of good issues that we've promoted over the years that have got struck down at the Supreme Court level. You can never predict exactly how they're going to rule, so let's keep the fight going on all those issues. Without certainty that they're going to actually work, at this point, let our voice be heard. Okay? That's sort of, do you agree, Terry, with that?
No. Thank you, Terry, for bringing up this question, and I agree with what Kevin was telling you, and that's why your voice needs to be heard day after day on every single issue. It's going to be a long fight, battle after battle, whichever one we win. Never think now I can sit down and relax, because the reason the power has gotten so big in Washington is because we've relaxed too long and sit back. So on their side, they never did. They have been fighting all along those years, and they have been coming back at us on every single issue without ever relenting. For the first time, our side has done the same thing for the whole last year. Day after day, you have stood up and with the Tea Party and the different other groups that have tried to lead the fight back. But it's not time, and it's not going to be time for a very long time to stop. So the first step is, as Kevin was saying, get Nancy Pelosi out of her chair. So that one we need to do in November. But after that, it's not going to be yet a battle won. So we will have to keep it up, not only until 2012, but even way beyond that. So please continue to speak up every single day. Help us do that. Whenever the head passes along by your side, give generously, because it's going to be a long, long-term battle.
Dave Osing, the Woodlands. Thanks for being here, Congressman Brady. I've always thought of things in my job place, longer term than some folks. And I look at where we're at here, and I see a lot of energy going into it, rightfully so, the healthcare issues. But I also see that for my eye-opening part, the USDebtClock.org, the debt. And I also see 100 years of our government in Washington, where it's indicating to me it is quite broken. And I know from problem-solving experiences that one must take the approach. If you want to solve problems, the first thing you do is identify clearly where you are, which usually isn't too hard. And then you go ahead and identify where you want to be for the debt, and where you want to be for your government in Washington. To me, we need leadership that does that. Then we can take steps toward it. What do you think?
I agree. And is anyone, of all the issues we're fighting, all the challenges face the country today, is our debt not the number one issue that frightens you the most? It is. I mean, it supersedes all. It's a symptom. These are all symptoms of a bigger problem, of a government that wants to fit every need, fill every need, take every dollar, makes all the decisions for you, basically knows what's best for you. And as a result, we now are not just $14 trillion in debt, but as the Congressional Budget Office showed last week, we will average $1 trillion debts every year for another decade. For another decade. And it doesn't go down. I mean, we are in a place now where it's almost, I fear, Suzanne talked a little about us, we have to stay in this for the long run. My worry is it's so big, it seems like we can't fight it. We can. Last year, House conservatives were the only ones to offer a balanced budget. Of all the budgets that were voted on, off the balanced one, we cut, we slashed, we pushed down on everything, and we could balance it in 10 years. I mean, and we knocked it down. And the only point we made in picking that period was to say, and every year we keep adding to the debt, it gets harder. We don't have any choice anymore. We need a constitutional amendment on balanced budget. That's enough. We need a constitutional amendment to cap federal spending. We have to have a limit there because It is the spending that's our heart and core of all this. Final thing, I don't know if you agree, I know it's only 2% of the federal budget, but earmarks are a symptom of what's wrong. And I can tell you after 4 years of working on this, after Thursday, House Republicans met in private, and we voted immediately to stop all earmarks being offered by House Republicans.